Welcome to the North Pole and happy holidays! What is Mr. Elf's treat of the day? Christmas donuts! These delicious donuts are the perfect holiday treat to have with some hot cocoa, so be sure to keep on watching. Let's start proofing our yeast. I have a half a cup of milk that I'm warming in the microwave until it reaches 110 to 115 degrees and stirring in 1 tablespoon of brown sugar with 1 packet of Active Dry Yeast. Cover the top with plastic wrap and let this activate for 10 to 15 minutes. It will look foamy just like this. So set that aside while we combine 3 cups of flour, a 1/4 cup of sugar, and half a teaspoon of salt in a stand-up mixer with your paddle attachment. Next, add in the yeast mixture with 5 tablespoons of softened butter. And guys, if you haven't already, join the party and subscribe. This whole month is a holiday marathon on my channel, and you don't want to miss out. I'm just pouring in 2 room temperature eggs with 1 tablespoon of vanilla extract and mixing until it starts to resemble a dough. You can switch over to your hook attachment when you see that it starts coming together and knead for about 7 minutes or until smooth and elastic. You will notice it is still a relatively sticky dough, which is completely normal at this point. So go ahead and transfer that into a bowl greased with vegetable oil and allow this to rise in a warm place for 2 hours. I like to use my oven with the light turned on as long as the heat is off. After the time's up, it should be doubled in size and we're ready to roll out our puffy donuts. Place a sheet of parchment paper and a sprinkle of flour on your surface and divide up your dough, rolling each section to a 1/2 inch thickness. The best part is cutting out the shapes. Remember to coat your cookie cutters with some flour first. Here I'm using a gingerbread man, candy cane, snowman, square, and round shapes for today's designs. However, this is all based on your preference and creativity. Plastic or metal cutters both work for this recipe. I'm also making the standard ring donut with a 3-inch circle cutter and a 1 inch for the center. As you can see, I'm excited to start frying these, but they need to rise one last time for 45 minutes. It is super important not to go over that time because it will distort our pretty shapes. To fry them, heat your oil and keep your thermometer in there to monitor the temperature. It should range between 330 to 335 degrees for no more than 3 minutes. Below that temperature will make them soggy and above will be overly crispy. We are aiming for an even golden color with that puffy texture. While the donuts are cooling, let's get to making our filling. Place a heat-proof bowl over a pan of simmering water and add in 1.5 cups of sugar and 3 egg whites. Then whisk that constantly until the sugar is completely dissolved. When the mixture reaches 160 degrees, pinch with your fingers to check that it's not grainy. After passing the test, whip your egg whites with your beater attachment on high speed until stiff peaks begin to form. The consistency will be so silky smooth, yet it tastes like a dream. You want this to come to room temperature before the next step, which is adding 1.5 sticks of unsalted butter, 1 tablespoon at a time, making sure that tablespoon is completely mixed before adding the next. Then we are doing the same with 3/4 cup of shortening. This method prevents your icing from turning into a soupy mess, so you will thank me later. Once all the butter and shortening are incorporated, pour in 1 tablespoon of clear vanilla extract and give it a last good fast mix. You will really love the creaminess of this icing in the donuts. Now here are my tricks for filling them. I'm making a hole in the center with my thermometer and pushing as far as possible without poking through and towards the left and right on an angle. Fill your pastry bag with the cream and squeeze out your filling using a Bismarck or round tip. It is so helpful for filling literally any dessert. A link for this will be available down in the description box. All they are missing is the glaze. This vanilla frosting is so quick and easy. It has 3.5 cups of powdered sugar that we're sifting to eliminate any lumps, and it looks like an icy mountain right now. After that's sifted, warm 3 tablespoons of butter and 9 tablespoons of heavy cream in the microwave. Pour that into the powdered sugar, along with 1.5 tablespoons of clear vanilla extract and 1.5 tablespoons of corn syrup. After mixing, check your consistency. If the frosting is too runny, I'm adding in 1 tablespoon of powdered sugar at a time and testing again. Here it's still too thin. I ended up needing 5 tablespoons. The hint is it should appear opaque and no longer translucent, otherwise it will run off your donut. Now we are good to go. I'm glazing our polar bear first, and while the frosting is still wet, I stuck on 2 marshmallows for his ears and black bead sprinkles for his eyes. I also made a snout out of black and white fondant and sprinkled some white sanding sugar on top for his fuzzy fur to get him ready for the North Pole. Next white glaze is our snowman. Shake your donut off a little bit to set the frosting and take some sour strips to make his scarf by laying a strip across the neck first and black bead sprinkles for the eyes. I cut an orange triangle to make a carrot nose and the rainbow crunch sprinkles as a perfect size for his buttons, then finishing off his scarf with another sour strip. The last white donut is our candy cane that I'm setting to dry before decorating. Take the remaining frosting and divide into 3 bowls. For a mocha brown, I'm using 3 drops of brown gel-based food coloring and dipping the square donut in there to make a reindeer. I made his antlers with 2 mini pretzels, more black beads for the eyes again, and his iconic red nose with his spice drop candy. Hello there, Rudolph! Also, I'm dipping the cute gingerbread man in the brown too and adding his eyes on. Then placing his peppermint buttons I made down the front and completing the look by piping a rickrack on his arms and legs with tip number 3. To make him extra handsome, I dyed some of the frosting red so we can have a smile. While we have the red, go back and grab the candy cane from before and pipe the candy stripes by creating 4 sections and fill them in with a zigzag pattern going back and forth. Yum! The final color and design is our fun green frosted donut. I used 3 drops of neon gel food coloring. Dip your ring donut in that and sprinkle a pretty assortment of Christmas colored jimmies on top. I hope you love this variety of festive donuts as much as I do. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you next week for more Christmas treats.